In this problem, we'll look at farm acreage. The Rolling Velvet horse farm allots 650 acres to plant hay and oats. The owners know that their needs are best met if they plant 180 acres more of hay than of oats. How many acres of each should they plant? We'll approach this problem using our 5-step problem-solving strategy, and the first step is to familiarize ourselves with the situation. Reading it carefully, we see that we need to know how many acres of hay should be planted and how many acres of oats. So let's let x equal the number of acres that we plant of hay, and we'll let y equal the number of acres planted of oats. And even on a test when you are short on time, this is a very important step to write in, because later on you may need to remember what x stood for, and you will need to remember what x stood for and what y stands for, and you may forget which one you let be hay and which one you let be oats. Now that we have this information, we can translate what was stated in the problem. First of all, it was stated that the total acreage was 650 acres. We could rewrite that a little bit or reword it. The acres of hay plus the acres of oats is 650 acres. It was also stated that the acres of hay should be 180 more than the acres of oats. So I'll rewrite it like that. The acres of hay is 180 more than the acres that are planted in oats. Now to translate, we're going to use variables when we can, and numbers and symbols. The number of acres of hay we define to be x, plus the number of acres of oats we define to be y, translates to equals. And we have one relationship, x plus y equals 650. Also, we're told that the acres of hay, which is x, translates to equal 180, and then more than indicates addition. So we have plus acres in oats is y. We have two equations and two unknowns, x and y, so we can move to our third step, which is to solve this system of equations. I'm going to solve this system of equations using substitution, because I have that x equals 180 plus y as my second equation. So in my first equation, which is x plus y equals 650, I will substitute 180 plus y for x. I have 180 plus y, that's my x. Then I have plus y equals 650. Now I can solve for y. I solve for y by adding y plus y and getting 2y. 180 plus 2y equals 650. Then I subtract 180 from both sides, and I have 2y equals 470. And then I divide both sides by 2, which gives me y equals 235. This gives me a value for y, and I substitute y in one of these two equations to find x. Since the second equation is solved for x, it will be easiest to use that one. X is 180 plus y, so x is 180 plus 235. Adding, I have x equals 415. Now before I state my answer, I need to move to the fourth step, which is check. It's important to check the answer looking back at the original problem. The original problem says that altogether there were 650 acres planted. Well, we had a possible solution of 415 acres, and here's where I want to go back and look and see what that stood for. X was acres of hay, and y is acres of oats. So I should have 450 acres of hay and 235 acres of oats. If I add these together, I have 415 plus 235, which is 650 acres. So that piece of information checks. I'm also told that, looking back at the original problem, 180 acres more hay is planted than oats. So let me take the number of acres of hay, subtract the number of acres of oats, and I get 180. So there are 180 more acres of hay planted than of oats. So that checks as well. Since these numbers meet all the conditions of our problem, we can state then, using a complete sentence, that 415 acres of hay and 235 acres of oats should be planted.